Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. It's a free-for-all Friday powered by TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness. Free-for-all Friday brought to you once again by TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness. Check out their new location at 303 Hargrove Road East. As you travel down Hargrove Road, you're going to now see they got that big, new, beautiful sign out there to let you know that you're in the right place. It's 303 Hargrove Road East, TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness, a local pharmacist who will know you by name and be able to give you the type of service that you deserve. Be careful of those big box pharmacies that just trying to get the drugs out and not taking time to provide you the care and assistance that you need. That's TJ at TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness. Give them a call at 205-752-0627. As we do each and every day, we remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. And thank the good folks over at Box Eye Care for powering us every single day. X is out today, so we want to invite you to get in on the conversation. There's a room at the table for you to grab a seat. So grab a seat, 205-342-9904. That's Empowerment Strategy and Solutions Hotline. So jump in on the conversation. Let me hear from you. On this Free for All Friday, you may have a topic, a comment from something earlier in the week, something that just been, stirring in your spirit a little bit that you want to bring to the table. We welcome you to do that on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions Hotline. Once again, that's 205-342-9904, or on the live stream chat. We invite you to get in on the conversation there, post your thoughts, comments, reactions, and make it a part of the conversation. Good morning, Wyatt. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day here in Tuscaloosa, and excited to spend the next 8 hours talking Alabama athletics.
Yes, sir. You got a full one. Wyatt's been sitting in all week, except for the first of the week. We lift Chase up, and him and his family in prayers as he's mourning and celebrating the life of his and the passing of his grandfather. So we lift him up as well. We also once again lift up Keelan Russell again in that tragic loss of life. No matter the details that come out, I don't know anything. So just know that young, way too early. So just lift that family up in prayer and continue to lift them up in prayer as we go throughout the season. So, but it's a free for all Friday. Man, I got some topics that I want to get to, Wyatt. Some of them, you do a lot of writing on the Tide 109 .com page, and there's another I guess online paper. Man, I hate clickbait topics that are lies. You know what I mean? Like part of your job, Wyatt, is to write a clickbait heading. You know what I mean? Like it's to write something that makes people want to click on it. But just to write something knowing that I don't even know. I shouldn't say it's a lie. I guess let me ask you this question, Wyatt. How do you report on guys who leave Alabama and now they're in the pros? They didn't finish here. They were drafted from another college. How do you report them? Do you say former Alabama player?
Typically, especially if it's somebody beloved by the fan base that is still very welcomed by the fan base. There's certain players out there that they transferred and
There's only one.
Well, I'm saying there's certain players that transferred and they're not loved by the fan base, right? But there's one player in particular who is always welcome back with open arms anytime he wants to in Tuscaloosa. So with him, I write former Alabama player, former Alabama quarterback. With everybody else, I typically don't even write a story on it. But because Jalen Hurts' name is so big and he's been really good in the NFL, we will write content on Jalen Hurts.
But what I'm saying is Jalen Hurts is an Alabama graduate. There's nothing. Jalen Hurts is an Alabama.
He's a former Alabama quarterback. He started here for 2 seasons, stayed for
he graduated.
And graduated, yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts was a student athlete at the University of Alabama who graduated and left. He didn't quit. You see what I'm saying? Like a guy who came here 1 year, 2 years, whatever. It doesn't matter if they didn't finish. They're not Alabama. There's nothing that I guess my frustration was I saw the article why and it said Jacksonville Jaguars released former Alabama running back. And I'm going, what Alabama running back played at Jacksonville? What Alabama? And so I'm sitting here racking my brain. Like, there's not an Alabama running back. We're talking about Keelan Robinson.
That's a Texas running back.
That's my point. That's my point. It's like
hold on, wait a minute. Like if you graduate from the University of Alabama, I get it. Like you are Bama through and through. You may go to another school for grad school, but
that's right.
You're Bama through and through at that point. So we will report on you as an Alabama athlete. But if you're Keelan Robinson, Amari Niblack, Isaiah Bond, and I'm not just picking on the Texas guys, but those are the 3 that came to mind first. You're not a former you're not Bama through and through. You left.
I mean, that would be like what's the quarterback that's on his 6th school that played at Auburn?
Zach Calzada.
No. Finley. TJ Finley.
Oh, TJ Finley, yeah.
He's on like his 6th school. So why would you ever say Auburn quarterback?
Hey, he almost beat Bama that one time.
Yeah, he did. So I hate those types of, but I guess that's kind of the new world we're living in. Why, when you look at this craziness of the transfer portal, like will we? How are Alabama fans? Jalen Hurts to me is kind of a category of his own because the way he did it. I mean, how would we feel about Jalen Hurts had he left after the national championship game and not graduated and not won the SEC championship game? He probably would still be in a different category.
I think he'd be in a different category because I mean, you look at what he did the first. I mean, he was 25-2 going into that national championship game against Georgia at
Right.
that point. So we had already loved and grown and learned about Jalen Hurts.
Right.
And I don't think anybody would have blamed him had he left
Right.
after
Not
that
at all.
national championship. I
Not at
wouldn't
all.
have. And I was, let's see, that was January of 2018, I believe.
Yep.
That game was played. So I was 16 years old. I wouldn't have blamed him at all. I'd have said, look, I get it. You got to start. You want to go to the NFL. You can't do that sitting on the bench.
Yep. And I was shocked. As good a guy as he was, I was shocked he came back. I'm just being honest.
I was very shocked.
And my respect for him went through the roof. And then not only did he come back, he was prepared to play. That's what people don't. You know, on that note, I hear people say, "Well, you should do like Jalen." Not really. Let's be real. God had His hand on Jalen. That was orchestrated. It could. I mean, that is going to happen 1 out of 1,000 times. Okay. It was the right thing for Jalen because of the way it ended up. Okay. But you can't anticipate that. And if you're really trying to do it, unless you hear from God to stay, if my son was Jalen Hurts, he would have been transferred. Unless I heard from God, stay. I mean, you hear what I'm saying? Why? Because
no, there would have had to have been, if that were my son, there would have had to have been divine intervention for him to stay at that program. I'd have had him in the portal on the plane back to Tuscaloosa.
That's right. And that's why I tell people, yes, it worked out for Jalen. I'm excited it worked out for Alabama and all of that. But that's not the typical, way you would make that decision. And because of that I was even more impressed that when Jalen's opportunity came, he didn't just go through the motions that year. You're talking about a guy working his butt off. I mean, and that's why I tell people, you can say what you want. Practice matters. Reps matter. Practice matters. How you practice matters. Because we saw a guy come in who was a different quarterback when he was given the range, which means he was repping it the right way. And I have 2 scenarios on this Free for All Friday, Watt, I want to talk to you about my concern over reps, and on a positive side, or not my concern. I want to talk about reps for one player and why I believe he's still here. And I want to talk about reps and my concern with one player on the other side. Like I said, we got a Free for All Friday. We can still talk a little bit more. We teased the Ryan Williams comment yesterday. If you want to dig a little deeper on that, we did a complete this statement regarding the national championship. I mean, Alabama being 4-0. We can pick that conversation back up. We can do it. I got a little deal, no deal I want to talk to you about with coaches' pay. Which one of these coaches, there was a story that came out regarding coaches' pay in the SEC in football. I'm going to talk a little deal, no deal on that. There's a Derrick Henry comparison beginning to be floated around. Deal, no deal on that. All of those conversations and more, we invite you to get in on the conversation. The phone lines are open for business. You can call us at 205-342-9904. Let's roll right here on the Crimson Tide, the network of the Alabama Crimson Tide. That is Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is TGIF, and we're getting off to a nice and quiet start on your Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets. All is well at the intersection of McFarland and Lurleen Wallace, and we also travel smoothly on 2059 between McFarland and Joe Malisham. Moving on 359 at Skyland Boulevard, you're pretty A-OK there as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell.
Just announced 0% for up to 60 months on all 2025 Nissan Rogue SUVs and the 2025 Nissan Pathfinders. Wow. Don't wait. Just shop now. Townsend Nissan today.
Crispy chicken nuggets are back at Taco Bell. All white meat chicken coated in tortilla chip breading and paired with unique dipping sauces. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact store for availability.
Childhood cancer is devastating, but childhood cancer is beatable with St. Jude. I knew that St. Jude was a children's hospital, that no one ever received a bill from St. Jude, but I in no way understood how completely they take care of their patients and their families. To any of the donors, I would say bless you and thank you, because without the donors, St. Jude wouldn't be here.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
You're listening to Taylor Electrical Radio.
Outlets sparking, lights are blowing. Don't do it yourself, or you'll be glowing. Call Taylor Electric. We do it all. Taylor Electric. Give the boss man a call.
Call or text your local electrician, 205-553-0958.
Taylor Electric, we are here for you.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partially sunny today. Scattered thunderstorms developing this afternoon and tonight. Some of the storms could be strong. The high today 89, the low tonight 72. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds. Scattered storms by afternoon. The high 88. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 72 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
We're back into a free-for-all Friday powered by TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness, and we're powered by Box Eye Care. The Empowerment Strategy and Solution Hotline is open for business, so give us a call right here, right now. I want to set just a couple conversations and get a phone call before we transition to that conversation. At the end of the break, Wyatt and I were talking with you about the reps and how Jalen Hurts. It started off with the clickbait headings. You know, there's a online paper reporting the Jacksonville Jaguars released former Alabama running back. Well, they're talking about Keelan Russell. He's not a former Alabama running back. He don't get to claim the script A. He has no claim on the script A. Even if Isaiah Bond doesn't get to claim the script A, after 4th and 31, how people disowned him, how he is no longer associated with the university. Definitely Keelan Robinson. I said Russell. Keelan Robinson doesn't get to claim Alabama, right? But that led to us talking about one guy that transferred, and he is loved and affectionately loved. But look what he did for the university. You look in the record books, you look in the school. He has a degree and he has performance. He was a student athlete who completed his journey. That's where this whole transfer thing started. With Russell Wilson leaving NC State and going to Wisconsin. He graduated. He finished his obligation. He did not leave Alabama. That is what students do for greater opportunity educationally, Wyatt, right? They leave. After they've completed one degree, they go somewhere else for a better opportunity. Jalen Hurts did both for football and for grad school. So, boom. But we talked about how he used that season to play, to get better, and how we saw him take advantage of that opportunity. I want you to be Newland. There's two guys that have me concerned over reps, and I think people underestimate the ability to get better while you practice, to develop when the lights aren't on, how to become great so that when you get your chance, you're ready. Alabama has a guy who I think made that choice similar to the same reason Jalen Hurts didn't transfer. He had a chance to get better even though he wasn't starting and playing a lot. There's another guy who I'm really concerned about because he's not gotten those reps. He's literally missed out on big-time reps, and we're going to talk about those guys in just a moment. But before we do that, we got Pat who wants to get in. Pat, you're in on the Empowerment Strategy Solutions Hotline. What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning. I didn't call yesterday, and I hope that you got your message to you that I wanted you to have as much time to talk about the Russell family. And anytime you were willing to give me, you'd use for that. But I want to talk about two players coming in this weekend that I think it was the Raiders and the Patriots. Every point scored in the game was scored by somebody with an SKY or an SKI on the end of their name. That Pomikoski is coming in, Jakowski, all kinds of players in the NFL have a ski on the end of their name. But wanted to bring up that he's only the third player in history to win both the Gatorade football player of the in his state and the Gatorade baseball player in his state. And so guy must be a big time athlete. From what I can see, I was hoping X was going to be available today. Yeah. But reason that it worries me about him coming in to play baseball, I can see he has a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and it would be great while we have Keelan at quarterback. Potentially, we don't know for sure, but that's what it looks like, is that we got something for the young man to do. However, I'm very, very concerned that in 2-3 years down the road, when Russell's gone, is that we don't have a quarterback either, because the Major League Baseball's come in with millions of dollars for the young man, and that's why I'm kind of thinking that we need to go with the quarterback out of Nebraska. What do you think about what I just said?
Well, Pat, the question is, when would Ponitowski be ready to play if Keelan becomes the guy? He's not going to play for 3 years anyway, right?
Exactly my point. That's why he's playing baseball.
So hold on. Let me answer your question. Then we signed Jet. Do you think Jet's here in 3 years?
Yeah, because Jet needs
No.
time to
There's
develop.
there's no way Jet sits 3 years. I shouldn't say there's no way because we saw Ty Simpson do it. Wyatt, do you think the likelihood that Jet sits and waits for Keelan Russell to play 3 years or Ponitowski being drafted, which one are they equally as likely? What do you think, Wyatt?
You're more likely to have Jet Tamala sitting here in 3 years than you are Matt Ponitowski.
And
Exactly.
I say they're about the same. But here's the point. I think the risk of those two guys still being here is the problem. I'm not signing Ponitowski for 3 years after Keelan Russell. I'm not signing Jet for 3 years after Ponitowski. I'm signing them in case we have an emergency next year and the year after. That makes sense. I'm not really signing. If those guys are good, one may be more likely. I think that Jet, if he's as good as I think he is, he's as likely to get frustrated being here as Ponitowski is to get drafted just because of the nature of college football and what they hear in their heads. I don't know his parents. I think Ty Simpson is an anomaly because his dad's a coach, guys. I think Ty Simpson is here because Ty Simpson's dad would support what I'm about to talk about repetition. That's why I think Ty Simpson is still here. I think if Ty Simpson's dad wasn't the son of a coach and didn't understand development and all that, he'd be out of here.
So then
go ahead.
So let's say, Ty plays 1 year, he's gone. Keelan Russell steps in next year with Jet Tamala as a freshman. If it's Keelan Russell, I don't know how Austin Mack plays into that. For the case of this scenario, we'll say he's out. Do you go to the transfer portal at that point and say, I need a veteran guy who is willing to sit here? You may never play, but but you do kind of that gig of, you're going to be, you're our backup for a year, and then we'll get you on as the GA after that and kind of work your way into the coaching ranks. Do you go to the portal at that point?
I think you go to the portal and you find one of these superstar fourth-year guys who's played a lot of football and no NFL team is after him. But he'd still be a good college player at a lower school. I think it's going to be hard to find a guy who is a D1 guy that's played. That makes sense? Why? Like I think you can find a guy that played at, and I'm a North Alabama or something like that, but he has a lot of experience.
I was adamant that I thought Alabama should probably get a fourth quarterback in the portal, somebody who is a little more veteran, right? Because nobody on this roster started a game. Right. So go get somebody that's a little more veteran, understands that they're probably not going to make their way into the starting lineup, but they're going to end up being a GA and work their way into the coaching ranks. The guy that I was looking at, he's got experience at a big-time school, but he entered the transfer portal and nobody picked him up. It was General Booty out of ULM. Because remember, he started for a season at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So he's got big-time college football experience, but nobody's really gone and picked him up. I think he's still available in the portal, and it's June. So go get him. He's somebody who has started good college football games, and then he can end up being a GA on your roster or on your staff once he's out of eligibility.
Yeah, and to me, I'm talking in either that route, Wyatt, where a guy has played a little bit, or a guy who's played a lot. I'm telling you, there are guys all over this nation who are better than the quarterbacks who play at D1 schools. They just weren't D1 quality coming out of high school. That's why you see tell me traditionally, who are the guys who have the biggest careers in the NFL as a whole? A lot of times it's not the guy that played at the big school. It's that guy who got reps for 4 years or 3 years playing against better talent every day with less talent. And a 22-year-old is better than a 18-year-old 4-star or 5-star. So to your point, yeah, a guy who has that and is still in the portal, or one of these guys that had 4 years, but they were redshirted 1 year, and they're not going to play football. They thought their career was over. They graduated, and now you go get that guy. And remember, you're not bringing them in to win a championship. You're bringing them in as a security blanket in case you have to. So, Pat, my point to all of that is I think Ponitowski and Jet in 3 years will be looking to go in the portal. What you're trying to do, here's my point. What you're trying to do, Pat, is you're trying to get somebody for 2027 class. That's going to be who the next, if in my opinion, and yay or nay, Wyatt and Pat, the guy Alabama signs in 2026, this year's class, or the guy they sign in 2027, which guy you think is most likely to be the next starter after, if Keaton Russell is that guy? I'm going to say it's the 2027 guy. I'm saying the 2027 guy is more likely to be on the roster when Keaton Russell puts his name in the NFL draft if he lives up to the hype.
Hey, I'm going to go with this. Both those quarterbacks, Jet and Ponitowski, are going to be at the Elite 11. Hey, the scenario is not over with yet, guys. And I want to know one more question before I go. Is Griffin is coming in, Martin, in this age of NIL when he is projected as the highest potential NFL defense. I mean, in name, image, and likeness player in college football as a defensive prospect. Do we get him?
I have no idea. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. What is he going to play here? Is he going to be a safety?
He's going to be a wolf.
He's more in line with Alabama's DBs now than he is linebacker. So it'll be interesting to see. 5-star prospect. I don't know a lot about him, but seems to be on 247. They're crystal balling him to Alabama. So, anytime you get that type of talent, but as far as what his money and value is going to be, I have no idea, Pat.
Gotcha. All right. Y'all have a blessed weekend, sir. Thank y'all for taking my call today.
Thanks. So what? The 2026 signee or the 2027 signee? If Keaton Russell lives up to the hype, which guy do you think is most likely to be the quarterback?
I don't know if it's just because of name recognition or if they're actually better. I do think the 27 class is a little better at the top at quarterback, but I think about Gunnar Rivers, right? Or I think about the Nussmeier kid who's the brother of Garrett, the son of Doug, and I want one of those two. So I think I'm leaning 2027 is more likely to, especially if it's one of those two. I'm leaning 2027.
Yeah, and we'll pick that up on the other side, and we'll also get to the rep side, because every time I talk, it's like every time we have deep in this conversation, it's supporting my repetition conversation, and how important it is. It's bolstering why I think Ty Simpson may have a breakout season. We'll talk about why on the other side, right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on this Free for All Friday, powered by TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. It is TGIF, and we're getting off to a nice and quiet start on your Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets. All is well at the intersection of McFarland and Lurleen Wallace, and we also travel smoothly on 2059 between McFarland and Joe Malisham. Moving on 359 at Skyland Boulevard, you're pretty A-OK there as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
Get summer started right for the family at the Seafood and Crawfish Summer Kickoff Darty at the venue June 7th. The Darty starts at noon and rolls on till 6 p.m. Admission is free, and we have 3 different bands entertaining. Not only does the venue have 2 new restaurants, Santo Taco and Uncle Nick's Italian Eatery, but we have recruited a cameo appearance from a Cajun seafood restaurant. Shrimp, crab, crawfish, and more. Join us June 7th. Visit venuetuscaloosa.com for more information.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-2013 or biglou.com.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460, 553-9460, or visit them online at HoustonHydrosteam.com. And once again, Houston Hydrosteam is quality work you can stand on.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Hey, give Empowerment Strategies and Solutions a call at 205-826-1381. Empowerment Strategies and Solutions, empowering better leaders, stronger teams, and championship culture. We love the opportunity to work with you via our Coach to Coaches program. Listen, if Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Tom Brady, if the greatest coaches of all time need a coach, so do your team members and employees. As a matter of fact, Nick Saban even had a coach. We call him Elko. So if the greatest of the greatest need coaches, so do your everyday employees and team members that you have assigned leadership responsibilities. We can come alongside you, coach individually or in a group. That's Empowerment Strategies and Solutions. You can go to martinhouston.org and find out all the great offerings we have to offer there. Once again, Empowerment Strategies and Solutions, empowering better leaders, stronger teams, and a championship culture. All right, well, we've been having some interesting conversation. Tim Coggins said, I think the board's building a culture that would keep the 26 QB around to be a starter as a redshirt sophomore. I agree with that he's building that right culture. But Wyatt, what guy have we not mentioned as part of the quarterback race?
Austin Mack.
Why do we not mention Austin Mack? Because of the shiny new toy we got.
I was going to say, you look at the job this year, and I think for the most part, Ryan Williams told the College Game Day podcast a couple of days ago that Ty's the front runner still, and we're in June. I mean, we're 2 months away from We're a little over 2 months away from the start of this first game. So I think at this point, if Ty is still the front runner, there's a good chance it's going to be Ty.
Right.
And then you look at Keelan Russell with how talented he is. No disrespect to Austin Mack, but how talented Keelan Russell is. And like you said, shiny new toy. You look at it and you say, can Austin Mack hold off year 2 Keelan Russell? If he can't, there's no spot for Austin Mack on this roster anymore.
Right. And so he's going to be a third-year guy. Well, that's going to be exactly what happens to the guy who's on the bench in 3 years. That's what's going to happen to this year's class. Like, this year's class is going to be here waiting their opportunity, and we're going to sign some superstar. We're going to get a shiny new toy. And you know, we always talk about Mac Jones staying. The portal wasn't the way it was then. You think Mac Jones stays now? Probably not. I mean, Mac Jones came into the situation. We always compare that. Mac Jones came into the situation where we already had Tua and Jalen on the roster. So he came in with the mindset of what? I'm not playing till my 4th year or maybe my 5th year.
I almost wonder if when you look at Mac Jones' situation, because remember, he signed with Tua, right? He was in that same recruiting class as Tua, and he was a 3-star quarterback who, and Tua was, you know, composite 5-star, whatever. Tua was the next big thing.
Right.
I almost wonder if they looked at Mac Jones and said, we're going to try to develop you. You're going to take a lot, but we're going to try and develop you. If it doesn't work, you've got a spot on this coaching staff when you graduate. You can be a GA type of player, type of guy, end up being the QB coach and working your way into the coaching ranks.
Right.
And then they saw Mac developing at the rate that Mac was developing. Tua gets hurt a little, or Tua's college career ends a little earlier than we expect. And all of a sudden, Mac Jones is thrust into this starting role that I'm not entirely sure they were expecting him to have a year and a half prior.
That's my point is with Mac Jones. Mac Jones had committed to Kentucky and had a path where he would probably be a starter at Kentucky in year 1 or 2. He had a legit, and then Tua commits, then he decommits from Kentucky and commits to Alabama. So he came in understanding that, right? We're going to develop you. Well, how and Jalen, by the way, Jalen was a freshman coming off being the freshman of the year, right? So you know, Tua came in with the mindset, I'm going to battle against the best player in the SEC, offensive player in the SEC. Mac Jones signed with the mindset that I'm going to be playing behind this guy. I'm going to be in the class with the guy who's the next great thing. And we're going to be competing against the guy who just won Offensive Player of the Year as a freshman. So they understood that. Now you look to where we are today. We look at Austin Mack and we go, we keep forgetting about him. Just take what you just said. Take what you just said about Mac Jones. You know why Austin Mack, remember I was talking about Jalen Hurts getting better as a player when he wasn't playing? Jalen Hurts did that. You know who else did it? When Nussmeier got his chance last year, why do you think Nussmeier's good? What has Nussmeier been doing the last few years? Repping. And it's not just, Wyatt, it's not just that they're getting reps. Sometimes they actually get reps on the other, like a guy that doesn't play right off. Guess what he learns? Scout team has become taboo and you don't want to be on the scout team. You know what you get to do when you're on the scout team, Wyatt? You get to rep the other team's offense against your team's defense. And so if Alabama has a good defense and a good defensive scheme, what happens to a scout team quarterback? Their growth is what? Exponential. Because what are they doing week in and week out? They're learning to execute another team's offense every week against a stout defense. That's why Mac Jones got better. That's why I'm telling you, will Austin Mack beat Keelan Russell out? I don't know. But I think we're underestimating why Austin Mack is still here. Austin Mack could have left and went in the portal. It was just as likely for Austin Mack to leave this year as it is next year, in my opinion. I mean, but why did he stay? Why? And I'll let you respond to that. I believe Austin Mack stayed because he understands, dude, I have a chance to be coached by Grub and have a quarterback coach in Sheridan and grow and mature. I can become a better quarterback running second team at Alabama than I can going to a smaller school or a different school trying to learn a brand new system and starting over. I think Austin Mack is here because we talked about the reps and the practice and the getting better and the caliber of coaching he's going to get here. Your thoughts?
I agree. I think being QB2 at the University of Alabama is better than being QB1 at the vast majority of Division I programs.
Right.
I mean, you talk about there's 136 FBS programs. I wouldn't be shocked if QB2 at Alabama is better than 100 other starting spots in this country.
Yeah.
So, like you said, he's getting the reps, right? He's practicing against you. You don't often go good on good in practice, right? Because you don't want everybody to get beat down and tired. So you're running second team offense versus first string defense, which means every single day Austin Mack is playing against the best defensive talent in the world.
And guess what he's also getting to do? Probably he gets to get thrown in there more, but backups tend to be hungry. So they push more, they thrive. I mean, if they're wanting to be that guy, and I don't know that that's the case with Ty Simpson. I think he's in a different category, but Tim Coggins making a great point. Matt Castle from USC back in the day is a perfect example of this conversation. Matt Castle, do you know the Matt Castle story, Wyatt?
I vaguely remember it, but it was before I really got involved.
He didn't start a game from high school after his high school career. Didn't start a game. And was the backup with the Patriots for several years. And then he came in and played with the Patriots, and he looked like Tom Brady for that season. He didn't start, Wyatt. He was a backup, but he was a backup at USC when they were dominant and when they were good. And then he gets to the pros and it doesn't play there. He's just a backup. But when he gets his chance, he's ready. And I think that's why we don't need to underestimate and count Austin Mack out. I'm telling you, the other part about Austin Mack, and we'll get to break and we'll wrap up on the other side, why this is what we're not counting. Last year should have been Austin Mack's freshman year too. You just don't know how much kids can mature that first, like I always tell people, my freshman year at Alabama, the 19-year-old Martin or the first-year Martin would have hurt and destroyed the high school version of Martin. The sophomore or redshirt freshman Martin would have destroyed, obliterated the freshman Martin. I mean, it wouldn't even have been close. And we don't know what what has happened in this offseason and in this year. Is he caught up because we got a shiny new toy? Possibly. But I want to come back on the other side. I want to wrap up that repetition conversation. Just like it benefits some guys, I think the lack of can hurt as well. And I'm going to close out. I think Ty Simpson is poised to have a breakout year. And I'll tell you why on the other side.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. Children under the age of 18 can get free meals at participating Tuscaloosa City schools this month. Those schools are Alberta School of Performing Arts, University Place, Central High, Bryant High, Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary, Southview Elementary, and Tuscaloosa Magna Schools through June 27th. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local West Alabama news, sports, and weather. It's absolutely free throughout the day. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We move with grace on the Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets. Looking good. As you travel across the area, we do have the usual intersection stop and go. 43 on the southbound lanes to McFarland Boulevard. Also, as you travel on Lurleen Wallace and 69, both north and southbound onto McFarland Boulevard, you're going to also slow down just a tad bit. But again, just the stoplight slow goes is all. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell.
Just announced 0% for up to 60 months on all 2025 Nissan Rogue SUVs and the 2025 Nissan Pathfinders. Wow. Don't wait. Just shop now. Townsend Nissan today.
Taco Bell's $5, $7, and $9 Lux Cravings boxes give you options from a meal of classic faves to a feast of more indulgences to a whole world of deliciousness. Get Lux for less and choose your Lux Cravings box at Taco Bell today. At participating stores while supplies last. Prices vary. Drinks excludes freezes. Tax extra.
I'm attorney Stephen Mizrano. Did you know that insurance companies will only offer you pennies on the dollar for your injury? When you're in a wreck, you need an attorney who knows the law and will fight for you. I don't back down from the insurance companies. You need to hire a proven attorney who will win. My firm will fight to make sure you get the compensation you deserve. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and Axis and O Sports Xavier Houston.
Welcome back in. It is a free-for-all Friday powered by TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness, and we're powered every day by Box Eye Care. It is now time for the Harvest Church 2-minute warning. I want to apologize to J-Rob. I totally overlooked his call. I apologize for that, J-Rob. We'll work you back in next week, and if you call back today, I'll jump you back in. But hey, listen, why we're talking about reps. The reason there's one guy who he's the antithesis of this comment, and that's Caden Proctor. He has missed two spring practices, and that's tough, man. You can't get those reps back. I think his ceiling is through the roof. But has he gotten better? Has he progressed at the rate he should? Is he a 5-star that's a junior other than his age and time in the program wide? You see what I'm saying? I mean, missing those reps is tough. You can't get them back.
It's tough with Proctor because the ceiling is like NFL Hall of Famer, best offensive lineman of all time when you look at how talented, athletic he is.
That's right.
But to miss your, because think about how much we've seen a player take a jump after spring ball, right? Think about Wilkin Formby this year.
Right.
You watched Wilkin Formby last season and you say, I don't know about that kid. I don't know about him. He needs a lot. Now you look at him and you hear what's been coming out of spring practice and getting ready to go into fall camp here in a month and a half. And it's, hey, Wilkin's taking this massive jump. Wilkin looks so much better. Proctor hasn't had that, at least not here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Now he went to Iowa for that one spring, but at Iowa versus Alabama.
Yeah, and he didn't practice there. He didn't get the on the field reps there. And it clicks, Wyatt. It clicks, man. I can't explain what I mean by that if you've not been there. Like, I was talking to someone yesterday. They said, man, you seem like you were really athletic, and they hear me talk about not being an athletic guy. I said, I look more athletic than what I was because I studied film and I had reps and I knew the other team's scheme and I knew where they wanted to go and I knew the angles and the geometry of playing sports. I knew the right steps to take and how to cut the guy off. And I learned all those things, but it's not a matter of learning them. Why? It's getting to the point where you can do them without thinking. In Ty Simpson, that's what he's been doing. I think Garrett Nussmeier showed us last year and he came back, and I think we could end up with a Ty Simpson type of Garrett Nussmeier where Ty is back, even if he has a good year. I believe Ty Simpson, as a coach's kid, a kid who studies film, a kid who has stayed and stuck with the program, a kid who has always shown the same type of stuff we see from Keelan Russell in practice. Ty Simpson has always been that dude in practice, in the practice at the complex, but he's not been the guy when he got to the field, to Bryant Denny and the lights. You know what happens, Wyatt? It clicks. He's now no longer pressing. He's just releasing and relaxing, and his timing's going to be quicker. His decision's going to be quicker because he's not chasing someone. He's not trying to do more than he can do to prove that he deserves the job. He's doing what he can do to keep his job. And so he's not forced to try to do more. Because if he and Jalen were the same level, Jalen was going to win the job. So he had to do what? He had to do more than Jalen did. Well, now they're chasing him, and he's setting the bar. So I think Ty Simpson, with the reps, the commitment, the coaching, the studying the film, and then just the ability to relax, I'm telling you, I think the guy's going to have a crazy breakout season. Why? Your thoughts?
I hope so. Like legit, I think you're absolutely right. If Ty Simpson was the same level of Jalen Hurts, especially this past season, right, where you had the coaching change and all that, if Ty Simpson was the same level as Jalen Milroe, Jalen was going to win that job. And Jalen should have won the job. He earned that right after the 2023 season.
Right.
But now Ty is the lead man. Ty is the one out here who, hey, he is the benchmark, kind of is the idea with him being the most veteran guy. So Ty's the benchmark now, which means that Austin and Keelan, they have to outperform Ty now if they're going to get a chance to start. Ty is just take care of the football, don't make any stupid turnovers, and you'll win this job.
Yeah. And here's the last thing about, and we can talk more about Ty. Here's the other part about Ty. This offense loves the deep ball. Okay. And Jalen could do the deep ball. But you know what else this team needs? What does Coach always say? Listen to him next time you hear him interviewed. He'll say, I want the big shot, but I want a guy who will take the underneath pass and keep the drive going. Well, that wasn't Jalen's game. So if Ty can be in the ballpark on the deep balls, his underneath game and his horizontal pass game versus his vertical pass game, I think Jalen had the vertical pass game. He was a guy in front. He was a starter. But you know how easy it is if you don't have an underneath game, Wyatt? You know how easy it is to stop a vertical game?
I was going to say, it's pretty easy at that point.
It's pretty easy. Why did Alabama dominate early in the year? Nobody could stop it. Then they realized after they got film, they just start backing up. We didn't have a run game, and we didn't have an underneath pass game, so we never could get those DBs off of the deep routes, and our offense suffered. I think I think Ty gives us levels of offense horizontally so we can keep going vertical. We'll break it down even more on Monday. Hey, that's Wyatt Fulton. Thanks for jumping in this week, Wyatt. We appreciate you. being a part of the program. We'll welcome Chase back in on Monday. We'll welcome Xavier back in on Monday. And we welcome and thank you each and every day for being a part of the program, all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters. And remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. We'd love to see you Sunday at Harvest Church. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.